Good morning. We're gonna jump straight into our kingdom kernel for the morning. And I wish we could do all the ones you guys have studied, and I hope you've been reading through those kingdom kernels the last few weeks. But as we start here, we're going to look at maybe, it's like there's several that I think are my favorite. This one may be my favorite. Mark 4, 26 through 29. It's that parable of the seed growing quietly. So here's what we're going to do. Anybody remember the three questions we're going to ask of the text? What's the first one? What's the main point? The main message. That's what we're going to ask. What's the second question we're going to ask? What should you expect? Expect God to do. And then what's the third thing? How's this going to affect your plans, your application? So we're going to take, again, about the next 12 minutes. Won't take long. This is a very short parable. But I want you to read it out loud in your group. And then one person pray. Just like Jesus said, he who has ears, let him hear it. Lord, give us ears to hear this morning. And then we're going to ask just that first question. What's the main point? And once we've spent 2 or 3 minutes on that, Laura's going to write up here your answers, and then we're going to go to the second question. So read it, pray, then answer the main point.
When you sow, God makes it grow.
Okay, when you sow, God makes it grow. Very good. We're going to make a poster of that one because it rhymes. Okay. When you sow, God makes it grow. You want a pen, honey? Oh, you got one? All right. How else did you guys say it?
You got to sow the seed for the crop you're hoping to reap.
Okay.
If you want to grow corn, you got to throw corn seed.
Okay, you got to plant the right seed to get the crop you want. Okay. There's power in this seed, by the way, right? Yep.
Melissa said the unseen doer makes it grow.
Okay. The unseen doer makes it grow. If you don't get that resounding message, which is also worth a candy cane, by the way, Melissa, coming at you, you better turn around because it's going to ding you in the head, okay? Okay, very good. All right. The unseen doer makes it grow. Any other ways you tried to summarize what it is? Yeah, Daniel?
Justin said it defines man's role and God's role.
Okay. This parable's all about defining man's role and God's role. Great. Any other ways you said this? Very, very good.
Rest says defining the kingdom process.
Okay, it defines a kingdom process. There is this process when the kingdom comes. And I think that's another huge message you guys should hear in this parable, is that there is a process to how the kingdom grows. And so we've got to be patient with the Lord. So let's move to that second question, which really, Jesus, I think, is trying to build expectations here. What should you expect to happen when the kingdom comes? Let's talk about it, either good or bad, from this parable. What should you expect to happen when the kingdom comes? How you should expect. Jim?
Austin said that we should expect to work and to sleep.
Okay, good. I hope some of you guys need to hear we need to work. Some of you guys need to hear you need to sleep. And you know who you are. And some of you wives, go ahead and just elbow, if your husband's not sitting next to you, elbow him later on, okay? Some of you need to work. Some of you need to sleep, and we all need to do both, but we need to know when the right time is for both. Great. Someone else, what should you expect? Yep.
David said perseverance.
Perseverance, because it's not instantaneous, right? You have to expect to persevere in this. What else?
Seed sowing.
Expect to sow seed? Good. What else should you expect? Yep, Bob?
Johnson said harvest.
Expect a harvest. If you plant kingdom seed, something's going to happen, right? You're going to get something up. Yep.
Chris said before the harvest comes, there's a season of waiting to see what will happen.
That's right. There is a season of waiting. Guys, you should hear that in every case study, every testimony that you hear, that there is this season of waiting where you're doing the right things, but you're waiting for God to bring the increase that you can then put the sickle in. So that's a part of what you should expect. And you can't ever predict how long that season is. God's in control. Yep, Sean?
Expect the seed to grow to maturity.
Expect the seed to grow to maturity. Very, very good. Yep, Tony?
Expect to visit the field a number of times.
Okay. Expect to keep going back and visiting. Yeah, absolutely. 2 more. How about? How are we doing on paper, honey? You okay? All right. Janelle?
Claudia said you have to know when the harvest is right.
Okay. Now you also have to know when the harvest is right. Okay, so that's very important. And one of the things I've appreciated about with Kevin being here these few days, and I assume he's going to get here if he can get through the flood waters. But I love the fact I've seen Kevin walk into a place with someone else. Both walk in, see exactly the same thing. Kevin sees a harvest. Someone else sees hard soil. God's going to season your eyes as you keep hunting for these fourth soil folks. God's going to keep seasoning your awareness until you have eyes to see it more consistently. One more expectation. Yep.
Expect to know not how it goes.
Expect to know not how it goes. Can we just go ahead and clear up one thing? God's God. We're not. So God's ways are still mysterious. This is a farmer. Even the farmer doesn't understand completely why that little seed can produce life. And I can assure you that when you draw your last breath, you're still not going to understand the marvelous ways of God completely. And that's the way it should be. If you did, you'd be God. So when you leave here, probably you're going to have more questions than you have in your life. That's okay. But you know enough to start, right? Or to take the next step from where you are now. So let's do this. Since this is the way the kingdom works, I want you around your tables to each come up with 2 specific applications as a group. Because of the truth of this parable, we will what? Let's write that down, and we're going to hear what those applications are. At the ladies' table here, application?
Feed your child.
Feed your child.
Well, we were just talking about the significance of patience. We were talking about just asking the Holy Spirit to give us more of Him.
Okay.
One of the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah. Holy Spirit, give us more of you so that we can have more of the patience, which is the fruit of the Spirit. Good. What about this table?
Teddy, Eric, Aaron, and Gene, they all talked about either trusting God or about more patience as well.
Okay.
It's not about them, it's about God.
Great. What about here, guys? Give us one of yours.
So, Steve, I think the big, as we start to look at applications for our team, we were talking about prayer being one of the top, and
Yeah.
setting goals, specific goals for sowing, as well as for reaping, which will be training
Yeah.
for the coming year.
Okay. So, but thank you for saying pray. Because of the length of our training, we don't have a breakout session on prayer, but I hope you hear prayer as a thread weaving its way through everything we're doing. Because God's the one controlling the harvest, we beseech Him in prayer. God, open hearts, create harvest, Lord. Help us to be bold. All of these things that we're praying, a very, very critical part of our planning and our activity. What about this table here?
We have sow abundantly, check regularly, and wait on the Lord.
Okay, sow abundantly, check regularly, and wait on the Lord. Very good. What about you guys?
Trey said we should take responsibility for sowing the seed. And several other people said just trust God for the results.
Okay, so let's put it this way. We take responsibility for our part sowing. What was the other part the guy did? Harvest. Okay, so we've got our part and then trust God for the other part. Very, very important part. And you know what? One thing you have to do as teams is you have to remind each other, hey, you're faithfully doing your part. Let's just trust God for this part. You've got to remind each other, because otherwise you start doing the things that God alone can do, and that's what we call manipulation. And manipulation is when we try to do what only God can do. So we want to be trusting to say, we're going to do our part, God, you do your part, and then we're going to meet along the way. What about this table here? Janelle, that table. Anything that we haven't mentioned?
We don't have to understand.
Okay.
We don't understand how he's doing it.
All right.
Because as a woman, I really want to understand.
Okay, don't get it all settled first. Just get out there. Let's do this. Men, anything else that we haven't mentioned?
Recruit and train harvesters.
Recruit and train harvesters. Awesome. Ladies, anything else?
Yeah, we were talking about, since we don't know the time that some disciples will grow, to remember to sometimes return back to ones that were slower going. And
Okay.
see if it's now their time.
Great. Because you don't know the timeline, periodically check back with disciples that haven't shown a lot of fruit yet, but they might be now ready in that process to do this. Very helpful. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just kind of cross-referencing this with 1 Corinthians 2, 10 to 15. It just seems like the farmer must know and operate out of his identity in Christ. And as he's doing swap and being walking in the Spirit, he can rest and see the kingdom growth that the farmer is seeing in the parable. If not, he's evaluating from his flesh and will miss little Mal. There's a little, what's his name?
Little Mal, you're right, bro. You're right. Very good. Very good application. All right, let's do this because we need to transition. Would you in your journals take a moment and let's write down one application. Because of this parable, let's each write an application down before we transition.